Hello everyone and welcome to Dice Commando. I'm Andrew and I'm very excited to be here today to present a module that I've developed for solo mode for Star Wars Destiny. Alright guys, so before we get into this, I actually wanted to go through kind of the history of where this came from. So early last fall, to be honest, kind of based on the success of Marvel Champions at the time, I actually started working on a cooperative version of Destiny. And in that, basically, two players would take on a boss character was really what the format was. So I was kind of working on that all the fall. I actually had kind of planned to get something nice together and actually send it to FFG and just put a bow on it and see if anything ever came of it. Of course, everything happened, that happened. And then when this, so I guess the point of what I'm saying is this didn't just come out of the blue. This isn't just something that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks since COVID started. But obviously when the COVID thing came on, we couldn't, really play with each other. I kind of got the idea to try and adapt this for a solo mode. So, before we get into the rules of it, whenever I get a new card game, I always like to go through the cards first before I get into the rules. So that's what I'd actually like to do here. So what I'm showing here right now is Darth Maul, Aggressive Apprentice. So he's the boss character. This is actually the first one I developed. This was originally developed to as the cooperative mode to kind of do the battle between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Maul. So I kind of had that all developed, but instead, I just want to focus on Maul because Maul, he's a really fun character. He can do multiple damage, and I kind of wanted to keep that theme going. So the goal in all of this was to have the AI, if you will, for lack of a better term, be completely independent so that everything that happened was, as best as could be in this game, done automatically for you, right? And I also wanted to make sure that everything was card driven so that it could not, you didn't have to have a big book, you didn't have to be looking things up. I wanted everything to just be there, simple, and in front of you. So what I came up with is this. So if you read what Darth Maul reads, he says, each action, if no cards remain in the boss deck, then claim the battlefield or pass if it has already been claimed this round. Otherwise, play a card from the boss deck. Before the end of each round, shuffle your discard pile into the boss deck. So of course, we haven't gone into the rules yet. What we're gathering here is this character starts in play, and he has a deck associated with him. Okay, this deck actually, I ended up coming up with 8 cards was the right number. So he'll have 8 cards in the boss deck, and each action, instead of him playing something from his hand, he'll play this down. Now you'll notice that he has no resources on him. The bosses have no resources. They don't have a resource engine. Everything they do is they just play from their deck and it goes from there and it automatically resolves what's on the card. Okay, so what we're looking at here is one of those said cards from the boss deck. So this is Duel Slash. So this reads, if Maul is not exhausted, activate him. If Maul's saber die is in the boss pool and not showing damage, re-roll it. If it is showing damage, remove it to deal damage equal to its value up to 2 opposing characters. Player chooses targets, meaning you as the person playing the solo mode. Right, so again, don't get too worried about the details yet because we haven't explained fully the rules yet, but what you can see is the objective of this card is that it details everything that happens. If Maul's not already in the pool, you roll him in, then you do something based on what's out there. So here is the rules insert. This is all of the rules as it pertains to solo mode, because remember, again, I wanted this to be largely card driven, so mostly what's going to be out there is the cards are going to be dictating what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and read through this. So first, this is the legal disclaimer, right? This is a fan-made thing. This is my made thing. I'm not making any money off this. I'm rolling out to this on a YouTube channel, which is for free. No copyright infringement on any level is intended, right? I'm just doing this for fun. This is fan-made, rolling it out to everybody just for their specific enjoyment during this COVID lockdown when we can't be playing with each other. Right, so a couple game definitions. So the hero player, this is you, this is me, this is the person playing against the AI, right? This is the human player. It doesn't matter if your characters are hero or villain, you are still considered to be the hero player, okay? Even if, we develop people down the line that are, say you're fighting Luke Skywalker, you're still the hero player, okay? For the purpose of all card interactions, you're always considered the hero player, and by that I mean boss card interactions. The boss player, of course, is the AI. Hero character, for the purpose of resolution of all boss cards and actions, I ran into some templating and sizing issues with too much text on the card. All of your characters in this are considered to be hero characters for the purpose of card interactions. That doesn't mean, to be very clear, that doesn't mean that your character isn't still a villain for like a card in your deck, but from a boss card resolution, your players are still considered to be a hero player, your character is still considered to be a hero player character, okay? And the boss character, any boss player character is with the boss subtype, right? So there are some variants that'll actually poop out other characters. Those characters, like battle droids, for example, those are not boss characters. The boss character has to have the boss keyword. All right, so at the beginning of the game, what we're simply going to do is you, the hero player, you're going to bring your battlefield. Boss player does not bring a battlefield. Automatically start with that's the battlefield that will be used, okay? But no shields are given to the boss. Follow directions on any plots on the boss player team. At this point, all boss have a plot. Usually that plot lets them start with something like a weapon in play. The boss will always begin the game going first, right? So the normal battlefield initiative thing doesn't apply. You'll have the battlefield, but the boss will go first, and it will be your battlefield. Again, he does not get shields. The boss takes each action by executing the instructions on the boss character. In this case, like we saw with Maul, that means you're going to be playing a card from the action deck. So far, all of the bosses that I've developed, there are 3 of them, all are exactly the same. Okay. Follow any and all subsequent interactions on the cards played, or to thus claim and pass, right, on the boss. And the boss will never use the claim action on the battlefield. One of the things I found in trying to do this is it was way too difficult to try to figure out, to try to define how that would be used. So the easiest way to get around it was just to say the boss executes his side, does not worry about the battlefield. Okay, so boss will never use the claim effect on the battlefield, even if he does claim. A couple other rules and interactions. In any situation in which directed damage, ranged or melee, for example, must be resolved, like a doubt, or there could be a special where it's dealing 2. In any case where damage has to be resolved and no target is specified, like doubt is the best example, right, where you are forcing the AI to resolve it. You as the player have to resolve that die against the character that is closest to death, right? So that's just an ongoing rule. If you ever have to resolve the die, it goes against the characters closest to death, and you get to choose in the case of a tie. Boss deck cards can never be removed from play, right? It screws everything up if they start being removed from play. So any action which would remove them from play does so and resolves, but then the card pops back into the discard pile, right? So if you have some card out there that says, remove a card from the game, then do X. You still get to do X because you removed a card from the game, but the subsequent then move is that card goes back into the discard deck, okay? If ever a situation arises in which the AI has no pathway forward and is stuck, it claims. I think that I have everything set up in these cards so that can't happen, so that it's relatively safe, but again, there is completely possible that there are ways out there, card interactions out there that I haven't foreseen that could potentially get the boss player stuck, okay? And then, what's not on this card is, of course, the unwritten golden rule here, which is you're playing solo mode to have fun and you're playing against yourself, right? So there are characters out there that are obviously broken. Like, for example, playing Ewoks in this format is broken. Right, there's only one target to resolve stuff against. They don't have a lot of health. It's very obvious that playing Ewoks is a very easy win here, right? You're more than welcome to do that, but that's not really how this was designed. And hey, it'll be an easy win, and if you want to walk away feeling great about it, that's fine. It's up to you, right? The only person you're playing against here is yourself, right? The only thing you're doing it for is yourself. So there are potentially stuff out there that's broken. There's stuff over there that's probably overpowered or have weird combos. And you're just going to have to make the decision at the time whether or not that's what you want to be playing, right? Again, you're doing this for your own personal enjoyment, so it's really just up to you. All right, so we already looked at Maul. Now I want to go in and look at Maul Saber, right? So Maul Saber, and the reason is all of these guys, and we'll go through all these guys in more detail, but Maul Saber is written very specifically Darth Maul, Maul 1 only, so it can only be on him, that's fine. But it then says set this upgrade aside if it's discarded. The reason all of the starting weapons do that, and the reason that they have to be set aside is because if they go into the discard pile, right? Remember the discard pile is getting shuffled back in every round. Of the boss discard pile is getting shuffled back into his deck every round. So if this card enters that deck, it creates a situation in which you have a card that can't be played or resolved. So all of the boss weapons do need to be removed from play if, say, you vandalize it or something like that. Okay, very simple there. All right, next we have Aggressive Charge. Aggressive Charge is kind of a cool card that I developed, or a cool type of card I think that I developed, where it kind of gives them an ability and it gets to roll in, right? So in this case, we have a 2 discard, 1 shield, 2 shield, special blank. Roll this die into the boss pool and resolve it if able, remove it. Deal 1 damage to up to 2 opposing characters, and then the hero player, meaning you as the human player, get to choose the targets. So you may look at this and like, obviously for 0 this is broken, but now remember, just put this in perspective, the boss player doesn't get to pitch to reroll. This die does not stay in the pool, it rolls and resolves. So you could potentially not get to, the boss player could potentially not get any advantage out of this, right? So what you'll notice when you're looking at the bosses, when you're looking at these cards, is like they are overpowered and they are broken, and yes, they are. And the reason that they are well above curve is because, again, the boss player can't pitch to reroll. The boss player doesn't have the efficiency that you as a human player do of trying to get things together in a certain way so that you can resolve them efficiently. They just don't have that advantage. They have to go, the boss has to go by the rules and how the cards are dealt and how the dice are rolled. So things have to be a little overpowered, otherwise they would just get stomped. All right, so and then we already saw this one, which is Duel Slash, right? Just a quick reminder of this, but this card, it gets played if the Maul Saber is in the pool, then you do some certain things there. So and then the last card I just want to look at real quick, again, this is just a Maul move. So if Maul's not exhausted, this is reposition. If Maul's not exhausted, activate him. Resolve all non-damage dice in the boss pool 1 by 1 if able. Cannot resolve blanks. Then re-roll all dice not showing damage, right? So the idea of what I'm trying to show here is that as we play these cards, as we go through the deck, it's going to but the card generation of the deck play itself is going to help to move that along, right? So in this case, it says, go ahead and resolve some dice. If he can't resolve those dice, he gets a reroll, right? And that's trying to replace the fact that the boss die can't reroll. The boss die is being forced to resolve dice that he might not normally resolve if he was a normal player, right? So that's kind of where it fits in. So what does this format look like altogether? So first off, I start with Maul. Like I said, Maul was the first one I had designed back when this was a co-op mode, and so I've started him off as the medium level. So that's what I'm showing here is his card fan. Again, I'll be doing an episode for each one. Currently, I have 3 that I've developed: an easy mode, a hard mode, and a medium mode. And I'll be going through all those in separate episodes. But this is Maul. He's the medium level. Boba Fett is the easy level that I have developed. Boba, again, another one of my favorite characters, so that's just why I went there. So Boba Fett is right here. He's a 2-gun, 2 indirect, 2 discard, 2 shield, and a blank. Again, you see that these guys do not have resources. Resources are completely irrelevant for the bosses. He's a character bounty hunter boss with 18 health, and his text is exactly the same, right? Every action, you're going to play a card from his deck, and it's going to do something. If there's no cards left, he claims or passes. And then for hard mode, and this might be impossible mode, this guy I think is really hard. We have Grievous Battle Ready. He's very different in the way, because he actually starts with 4 weapons in play. He actually starts with his arms. You can see the upper arm and the lower arm there. So this is Grievous Battle Ready. 2 melee, 2 melee, 2 melee, 2 indirect, 2 shield, and a blank for 20 points. And again, the same text as we've seen on all the other bosses. All right, so this is the intro to the card-driven module. What we're going to be doing here in a second is I'm going to be going through kind of how to build the proxy cards, how to build the proxy dice. I do want to do the disclaimer. 95% of the people watching this already know how to do that and can handle it on their own. However, you guys would be surprised at the number of questions that I get out there on how to do dice, how to do proxies, how to do stuff like that. So I want to remove the possibility of those questions altogether. So we're going to go through that, and then we're going to come back for a quick recap. All right, guys, so this portion of the video may seem somewhat silly and somewhat straightforward, but you would not have believed some of the questions I've got over the years of how I make proxy cards and dice. So at the move of trying to just remove the questions altogether and make it as simple as possible, wanted to go through this part. So this is the sheet that you're going to print out from the file, of course. It'll have the cards on it as so. As long as it is sized correctly, these should be 3.4 inches. So all we're going to do is we're just going to cut one of these out and slip it into a sleeve. All right, so we have Maul cut out as a piece of paper. So all we're going to do is take a normal sleeve, and we're going to take a normal Destiny card, and we are going to put that Destiny card in the sleeve, and then we're going to put Maul right on top. See how he fits just right. He's 3.4, a normal card is 3.5 inches, so he fits just in there with a little bit of overlap of the card, which is what you want. And then right into the sleeve, and wouldn't you know it, we have a Maul proxy card. All right. All right, guys, so this is what your sheet is going to look like after you print it uncut. This is sheet 1, which has the Maul and Grievous dice on it, or dice sides on it. Each one of these is an individual label. So you're going to peel the label off and cut them. I do recommend peeling the label off before you cut. I've done it before where I've cut them out in there, but then it actually gets really hard to peel it off. So let's go ahead and take one off, and we'll do our Maul die here. All right, so we're all cut out here, and we're just going to very simply place it on top of the die. And there you go. You now have a die on the face. We'll go ahead and complete the rest of the die, but I think you get the idea. So there we go, there's all 6 sides on the die. So what you have is a normal looking, pretty sexy looking, if I do say so myself, Maul die. So just roll 3s. All right, so that's pretty much it on how to put everything together. So what you're seeing in the link of this article, of this video, which I'm guessing most of you have probably already clicked on at this point, you're seeing 3 links down there. The first is a link to the card files, which is in a PDF. These are all PDFs. But you have a card file. You then have die sides 1, which include Grievous and Maul. And then you have die page 2, which is Boba. They just didn't all fit on the same template. The instructions for printing that are in those files. Again, I want to be very clear. I am rolling this out. I've put a lot of time, as you guys can imagine, in doing this, right? I believe everything's set up correctly. I believe everything is good. I mean, I've obviously printed it and made it work. So it's been tested and run. If you're having difficulties, please try to solve those before you reach out. I do not have time. I don't have the capacity to solve everyone's problems for them, right? Everybody who's doing this, everybody who's playing these games, you are very smart people. That's why you're here doing this. So please take at least 15 seconds to try and solve your problem before you escalate and tell me that I did something wrong, okay? Next on that, right? this is a module that I've developed just out of my free time. It's what I think is great. I'm not saying that this is the end all thing, right? I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. It's just something that I'm presenting to you to use if you want to. You don't have to use it. I'm not telling everyone, I'm not telling the community this is the way it has to be. If you don't like it, walk away. That's fine, right? Again, like I said, I put a lot of time into this. That doesn't mean I don't want to take negative feedback. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't want to be called an idiot for rolling this out. Okay? That's just the way it is. So if you don't like it, walk away, throw it away. There's going to be other people out there who do enjoy it. So again, I really hope that everyone does get a lot of enjoyment out of this. I'm very excited about this. I think it's really cool. I look forward to doing the additional episodes describing the decks, and I'm going to be doing some gameplay vids of the solo stuff. So again, I hope everyone's really enjoying this. Let me know what your feedback is. Let me know if you're excited about this as well, and if nothing else, go Commando. Thank you.